Hello, welcome back to Callie's in the Kitchen. I am going to do a 3D bloom double layer. I am using Pouring Your Heart Out large live edge mold. And for those who I know get so mad at me with my centers, I actually punched a circle, used my ruler to center so I knew where it was, removed it, mixed my resin with glitter mix, and tried to pour it exactly where it was before. So I hope it's somewhat centered. So in here is resin, and I just use some leftover resin from another project. And in my glitter mix in here is from Eye Candy Chica Brown and Pop Black Magic Craft Cut Glitter. That's what I mixed in there. So hopefully that'll work, and I'll come back for the next step. Okay, and now for the second step. So this is cured, my little center. Hopefully I've centered it. I have put some little cardboard pieces because when I used my leveler, it wasn't level, and I can kind of feel that some parts of the mold, because I've used it so much, is getting sort of misshapen. So I'm using my leveler, and I use the big one, you know, to measure the top. And then I used my little baby leveler, which I love, it's just adorable, to sort of gauge where to put. So I did that top part. That looks level there, here, and here. So if you have uneven surfaces, these levelers are a great investment. So for my next section of process, I'm going to be using Eye Candy, their Hono orange color pigment paste. I'm going to use Pouring Your Heart Out Bloom pigment paste from Pouring Your Heart Out on Amazon, and I'm using Trex alcohol inks, and I'm using a it's called Bellini Orange. And the resin I'm going to try, recommended by Leslie, who does amazing 3D blooms, I'm going to use this Promise tabletop epoxy that I got at Amazon. Now I did put those two containers near my heater, near my vent, excuse me, because it's very bubbly. So let me mix up my resin and I'll be right back. All right, excuse me. I've mixed up my resin. I did make one change. Instead of using the Bloom pigment paste, I'm going to use from Lorez white pigment paste, angel white paste, only because that bloom is really powerful, and I'm using a new resin for me for 3D blooms. I don't want to waste the Bloom pigment paste. So I let my resin sit for a little bit, and now I am just pouring a layer. Oh, I see a little glitter there, but that's okay. And this is really thick resin, and it's different form of resin for me, so I'm hoping I'll get it to the right temperature. I'm going to gauge it again, or take its temperature again. It's so weird. On my laser, it's saying a certain number, and then when I use my meat or cooking thermometer, it says a different number. So, frustrating. So I'm going to test both of them and see where they're at, because I do want to make sure that the temperature of the resin is nice and warm and ready for the bloom paste. I mean for the white petaling. So now I'm just going to continue pouring. And I think, going to end up getting a vacuum chamber, because all of my resin is always so full of bubbles. And I mix it slowly, I heat it up, I do all kinds of things to it, and it's still bubbly. It could be the temperature. I mean, and I have raised the temperature of my room, of my home also, because it's cold here. So now I'm going to put aside for my white and the orange about 20 grams. That's all I need. So as that other resin in my mold settles, I'm going to pour in my cup separately. Now I have enough. Oh, goody, goody, goody. I did enough resin because I did want it to go up a little bit more, higher up, I mean. This is a 2-layer process, so after I do this one, I am also going to pour another layer. I love these double-decker, I call them double-decker resin pours or 3D blooms. I think they create such depth. So let me do this one again of measuring this. And in that it says 35. And then let's see what it says on my little meat thermometer one. It says 32, so go figure. Anyway, I think I'm going to have to go by consistency of my resin when I do the blooms. So first thing though, I'm going to is make sure I got every drop of that resin that I mixed up. Since this is a lovely deep mold, and I did mention it, it's the large live edge tree mold from Pouring Your Heart Out. Going to torch it with the big one today, but from high up, because I know the trick to really beautiful petals in a 3D bloom is no bubbles. So as you can see, I have quite a few, and I think that's why I struggle with getting the beautiful sort of evenly petaling of my petals. So not sure what that is there. I think it's the mold. So then with the edge part where the live edges, I'm going to use a smaller torch just to be really, really safe. I might stir this around, see what this is. Maybe I didn't mix my resin well. No, there's still something funny there. Oh well. Believe me, I do these just for the process, because I'm in love with the process of mixing resin, using inks, you know, and then a great turnout. Wow, that's a bonus for me. And I hope that, you know, what I try inspires you to try. So I'm going to put 1, 2, 3 and just wait. And while that spreads, I will mix up. I'm going to mix up very little, about this much of the angel white in my 20 grams right here. You know, I can feel it getting thick, so that's good. Yeah, it's really transparent. That's fine, because I'm also going to add the orange paste. So I'm going to stir this in really, really well. You know, sometimes it just depends on my level of confidence on the day that I'm blooming or doing something that I will use certain products. So when I'm feeling a little unsure of myself, I use, you know, a different pigment paste. So now that I've got this in here, the white, the angel white, I am going to put in ever so slightly. I'm just still mixing it because mixing. While that does that, I'm going to just sort of swirl this around, sort of spread it out a bit. I'll let you guess if this is successful, what the other color will be. And that on the second layer of the double-decker 3D bloom. Okay, and then if it comes in again, I'll spread it out some more. I want to get my white going. So this is thickening up, so I've got to move along here. So then I'll wipe out that stick. And on my orange, I know there's a lot there, so what I'm going to do is just dip it in slightly, and then I'm just going to swirl a little, and then go back. And this is where my stick holder tray comes in handy, that, you know, for me to put it on. Then I'm going to go back. Oh good, I didn't want it to get dark, so oh thank goodness. I thought I was going to get a really dark peach. So good thing I didn't put that whole orange stick in. I just put in a very little amount. Then, to give it just a little bit more tinge of a color, I'm going to just do one teeny drop of the orange. Okay, I'm going to continue stirring, put it in my piping bag, and when I'm ready to pipe, I will come back to you. So that, close this amount. This. Okay, so I did spread it out a little bit more. And I've got my piping bag all ready. Cut a little hole. And here I go. I've just had a cup of coffee, a caramel macchiato, so I feel a little, my hand feels a little shaky. So we'll see. I'm just going to see the flow of this. Looks okay. So I was trying to go for peach, and I think I got a peach. And I'm noticing my stream is rather narrow, so I might go back out, or in, sorry, and thicken them up. Oopsie. Like I said, this is a new resin for me to use for 3D blooms, so I'm just practicing with the texture of it. At least that's my excuse. And I'm going to stick to it. So hopefully this layering of another amount of resin on top will still be okay. See how I hold my breath? Okay, now what I'm going to do, I still have a lot of resin left. I'm going to go in from the center, pull this in, and then on each of these I'm going to pull out. I know there's probably another way of doing this, but I wanted to do it this way. Okay, that's coming out there, so let's pull that out. Since some of this is already closing. Whoa. Racing with time right now. And hey, flowers aren't even, right? Well, they kind of are, I think. This goes up. Okay. I'm trying to give some definition to these ones here to give a little point, just for a little variety. Ooh. That's looking pretty. Now, because I have some more here, I am going to be going and doing this. Making sure I leave room out here because I'm going to be doing another layer of 3D blooms, hopefully. See my hand shaking? It's from that macchiato. Okay, now to add just that little bit of point, well, I did do these thin though, so oh well, it's okay. That's looking really cool. And it is shifting. Oh, sometimes I want to shoot myself. Oh, my little tool's getting out of shape because I use it so much. It's a great tool. Now I'm going to and if this spreads really well, I am going to more than likely use the same resin for the top coat. Oh, gotta do my little swirl here. Let me move it in here, although it won't matter, but at least this side will look pretty when you open up this side. Oh, look at it closing. Oh, that's cool. I'm just gonna spread these out to eliminate any potential blobbing. That's the one thing too I decided on my New Year's resolution for pouring is take my time, because you all can fast forward at any time. There. Wow. Just this side's looking so cool. All right. I will see you for the next step. Hello, and it is now, excuse me, for step 3. I have mixed up my resin, and I'm still using the Promise tabletop resin that I will link below. I have put aside 30 grams for my white, and I'm going to do the same thing, except you'll see in a moment what I'm going to do. So I let my resin sit for a while, and it's quite warm, not hot, but just warm. And I'm not going to my idea was not to fill it all the way to the edge. To the edge of, the rim here. So let's just see how this does. So that's turned out kind of cool. Be interesting to see what it's like on the other side. So I'm just going to scrape all of my resin out. Let that settle in for a moment. I'm going to torch it. When I poured this to mix, boy, the A is so thick. All right, now I am using this time from Bria Reese, the yellow, for my drops. still see some bubbles here, so let me see if I can get them out better. So I'm going to drop 1, 2, just sort of all, I'm going to let it spread out. Kind of smell something here. Like after I heated up the, torched and placed this yellow ink. It's kind of interesting smell. Okay, so in my other cup, I have put in some of the Angel White pigment paste from Res. I'm mixing it in my cup. Ooh, my thing's getting really warm. Now it's looking a little light, which is fine because I'm going to be putting still a little bit of that orange color that I used yesterday, but I'm going to do very slight because I don't want it, I want to create that peach color that I was talking about. This time on this one, I'm not going to swirl around the inks, just going to leave it. And I did mix 30 grams on this one. So I'm kind of rushing because my excuse me, my resin's getting hot. But what's interesting is Leslie, who is the sweet gal who told me about Promise, it's amazing that she puts it up to 40 degrees. Mine is at like 35 and it's already warm. So if I might try sometime. So I put in that orange in there, very little. And then what I'm going to do is add drops of the yellow into this mixture. Let's see. 1, 2. I kind of want it lighter than that initial orange that I put in. So that's kind of what it's looking like. Not looking very yellowish, still very peachish. So hopefully between a little bit of the yellow there and the yellow there, I might get a little variation. I can only hope. So, okay, I'm going to add a little bit more into my white mixture here. Mixing, mixing, mixing. I think it looks a little lighter. I don't know. That orange is a really strong orange color. And I'm going to be putting this into my piping bag. I am going to let this sit one day to 40 degrees and see what happens, because boy, I've never taken it to that level. I'm curious to know if I can still pipe at that 40-degree mark. The most I'm brave enough to get to is 35. So excuse the crunching sound. I tie a knot in my bag. I'm hoping that I see some of this crystal showing up, you know, on the edge, because it's such a pretty live edge mold that Julie created. All right. All right, here we go. Okay, so I've got my piping bag. I'm going to cut a little bit here, a little bit bigger than the last time, and we'll see. All right, here we go. It's coming right out. Okay. Well, it's still really peachy. Hopefully the yellow alcohol ink on the bottom will give it a lighter color. So it's the same thing. Of drawing these petals. I sure do like 3D blooms, especially when they turn out nice, and if they turn out nice. I'm going to go out more into the clear section. So I'm basically doing what I did in the first phase. Now I'm going to take my silicone tool as I rest my piping bag. I'm going to do the same thing. Well, this comes in, so I'm going to pull it out. I'll do a swirl there, but what I want to do is pull these out. I'm hoping this will create kind of a, what I'm going for is the dahlia petal look. So I'm just going to do it as I go along. When I see a petal that needs a little point, so I'm going to bring in. I might have blobs on this one. Not sure yet, so I'm going to pull it out some more here. This one I'm going to pull in, because that's a potential blob right there. On a roll here right now. Again, it's lopsided. Oh, oh well. Oops. Let's see. Right here. I want to make sure I don't miss any. I'm going to do a swirl in here. Let me just look, see if I have to, maybe can shape some of these a bit better. I am going to, since I have some more resin out here, I'm going to do that thing again where I put a, in between. I can never stop making petals. I mean, it's like, sometimes it's too much, but I don't know, I just like the fuller look. So, okay, I'm gonna start there. I think I did it here, 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 here. Bring that in a bit. Oh, that got really thinned out there, so who knows what that'll look like. But just making sure, I'm sure you guys might see someone and go, oh, she missed, oh, right here, she missed one. But, so I'm hoping to sort of get a gradation look, like color deep and then clear on the outside. So we shall see. I'm going to use my big torch rather bigger torch on the center part. One day I'll get brave enough to try the 40-degree mark. And just for giggles, to see what happens with my resin. Oh, I hope this turns out pretty. Alrighty, my friends, I will see you for the unmolding. Okie dokes, it's time to see how this looks on the other side. So this is interesting that these didn't bloom in the center. Maybe I didn't, put enough of the petals when I drew my... Oh, I don't know what I'm saying. Okay, I'm just so nervous to see what this turns out like. So as you can tell, it's not a coaster size, it's a tray size, so about 8 inches wide. So, oh God. Oh, that anticipation moment. Oh, very cool. Yes, sorry folks, not in the center. I guess that's just going to be my signature. Maybe if I sort of turn it that way, you'll see it's a little bit centered. I'm going to take you down, but I sure like the petals. Very pretty, and I like the depth of a double layer. I don't know if you can tell, but there's a depth between this part, this amount of petals, to that. So, pretty happy. And I love the live edge with the clear sort of, I didn't put any color, but there's a tinge of the orange that's reflecting on it. Really cool. So I'm happy. And I'm so glad you watched. Thank you so much.